Hello, students. Today we will start with the second chapter of our book Flamingo, and the name of the lesson is Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood, written by Anish Jung. In this chapter, writer has mentioned two stories, so we will do this chapter in two parts. Today I will explain the first part, the first story of the chapter. First of all, we will start with the author. Anish Jung. Anish Jung is an author, journalist, and columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad. She was born in Hyderabad in 1944 in an aristocratic, well settled family. Lost Spring is an extract from Stories of Stolen Childhood written by Anish Jung. This story is published in 2005 and focuses on the children from deprived background. It puts light on the poor children who are away from good atmosphere, good food, education, and most important, their childhood. As the title suggests, spring which is lost. Spring is the season associated with optimism, positiveness, and hope. This is the season of blooming. It also works as a metaphor for the childhood stage of our life. In childhood, we bloom, learn new things, want to enjoy every moment. But these poor children have lost their spring. The phase of childhood is all about innocence, energy, fun, and play with no limits. The theme of this chapter is poverty and child labor. The story of Spring talks about the national shame of children being forced to live a life of poverty and exploitation. It tells about the grinding poverty and tradition which condemn poor and deprived children to live a life of exploitation. As I have told you earlier, there are two stories in this lesson, and we will do one story today. Let's start with the first story. Title is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. The main character of this story is Sahib Alam, who is a rag picker in this story. The writer Anish Jung watches Sahib every morning scrounging. Scrounging means finding for gold in her neighborhood. Here, gold means something useful to them, like any coin, 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, or note, currency, or any cloth, or any shoe, or anything else that could be useful for them, those rag pickers. So, Anish Jung used to watch Sahib every morning from her house. Writer meets Sahib and asks why he does not do anything else. Why is he doing this work only? He replies that he has nothing else to do except rag picking. Writer says that he can go to school. But Sahib says that there is no school nearby his house. Author asks that if she opens a school, will he come to the school? He agrees on that, and their meeting ends there. On the next meeting, Sahib was happy to see the writer and asked for the school, whether the work of the school is going on or the school building is ready, and when can he come to the school. Author feels guilty on the false promise or showing fake dreams of school and education, and realizes that these children face many false promises like that. The author was feeling very guilty that time. When she comes to know the name of the boy, the next thing she did was that she asked the name of the boy. And when she came to know that the name of the boy is Sahib Alam, which means Lord of Universe, she feels that he is not living his life according to his name, which means he is not living life like royal. That time Sahib was not alone. He was with his friends. So when she notices other boys too, she asks other boys why they are not wearing any chappals. They were all barefoot. And on the reply, one says that his mother has not got it, has not brought it. Another says that it is their tradition to remain barefoot. She feels bad for the kids. That childhood age is like wet mud, gili mitti. They will shape as we mold. So their families have told them different stories of remaining barefoot, of being used to it. On this situation, she reminds a story told by an Udupi man who once went to some village, somewhere that village was, where he saw that Udupi man saw a boy praying for shoes. When that Udupi man went to the same village after 30 years, he found everyone, each and every person of that village having their own shoes. It means that the prayer that boy did for the village, for himself, was blessed by the God. But this miracle will not happen to these rag pickers. There is no one to pray for them. There are many things which they dream but are beyond their reach, like shoes, tennis, etc. Here, there is a brief mention of tennis also. The writer sees Sahib outside tennis court watching the game of tennis. Though this game is beyond his reach, but he likes to enjoy watching it. She notices torn tennis shoes in his feet. On defense, he explains that someone has given him, but it is obvious to know that he has found that in garbage, as one shoe is torn. This is gold to him. These shoes is gold to him. Though this is waste for someone to throw that in garbage, but this is gold to him, as these torn shoes has made him happy, has given him happiness. Now a brief description about the past of these rag pickers. These rag pickers are from Dhaka, Bangladesh, and because of the storm that has swept away all their fields and houses, and there was nothing left to earn, to eat. So they migrated from Dhaka to Simapuri, which is in Delhi, which is the in the outskirts of the Delhi, and settled there. They have ration cards for food, not for giving votes. They are earning here and they are satisfied with their living. Though they are living very poor, there is no sewage, there is no proper condition to live, but they are happy there. From this chapter, usually a question comes on garbage. It means what is the meaning of garbage for adults and children? For adults, garbage means of livelihood, earning, and for children, it is wonder, like treasure hunt. They are happy to find something in the garbage, to find money or anything precious, anything. After few months, author meets Sahib again and notices that Sahib has lost his carefree look, and instead of plastic bag that he used to carry on his shoulder, he is carrying a steel canister in which we used to store tea. Now he is not doing rag picking. He is now working on some tea stall and he is getting 800 rupees of that work and all meals of the day. But he has lost his freedom. Now he is not free to work for his own satisfaction. He has a master now. He was his own master earlier, but now he is working for someone else. Now he is following someone else's order. He is not free. So Sahib has settled his mindset according to the situation. Though he is not happy, but for money, he is doing the job at the tea stall. For money, for his family. In this story, we learn that Sahib wants to study, but situations are against him, and he is bound to do the work that his family wants him to do. So, here the first story ends. In the next video, we will do the second story and complete this chapter. Thank you.